IPI is an innovation catalyst that creates opportunities for enterprises to grow beyond boundaries. As an extension of its services, the Innovation Advisors Program aims to support Singapore's SMEs and startup in their innovation journey by pairing a company with industry practitioners to give insights and advice to accelerate their growth plans. Today, we are here to meet these innovation advisors with IPI. They are Mr. Dick Lee, Ms. Brigitte Zeller, Dr. Rebecca Lian, Mr. Shivendu Nadkarni, and Dr. Horng. Our IAs have an extensive array of knowledge about food industry and specialization that include product development, manufacturing processes, distribution, and business growth. In addition, their experience in the industry also provides company with valuable insights about consumer trends and brand building. Welcome everyone. Thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule to speak with us about your experience in the food industry and how you use this experience in your current role as an IA in IPI. So my first question to everyone is, what inspires you to be an IA with IPI?
I have a passion for food because my father was a wine farmer in south of France, and I think all this inspired me to stay in the food industry. A friend of mine introduced me IPI, and I found that very exciting if I can give back to Singapore.
Since I was a child, grew up in my business that my dad has in a grocery shop, grew up with food and food products. And always fascinates me, and running the business, when my dad is traveling and all that. What better way to use the knowledge that I have and I know to continue to help the SME in Singapore so that, our SME can grow.
A lot of us as IAs have been blessed with various multinational experience. For the next 20 years, I want to give back in various forms. So one of the things I decided is realized small companies, whether they are startups or SMEs, they need a lot of nurturing, especially in early stages. One of the local startups I was mentoring, they introduced me to IPI and said, why don't you actually consider being an IA so that you can help other companies too.
So food has always been in our thought, and I also become a food scientist. Then I realized the local SME are very, very small and very fragmented, and their capability is very low. I also realized that there's a big gap for food industry. When I was approached by IPI, when IPI first started the IA program, so I have no hesitant to say yes, because this give me the opportunity to help the SME.
It's a very good platform for SMEs and startups to actually reach out to people with that experience and the right advices to give guidance to them. There are challenges that are faced by SMEs and also for startups. So what do you see are the challenges that are normally faced by such companies?
The processes in SME are actually quite lacking, and that's the biggest problem for them to go big and global. Now, when you compare with the SMEs, especially in Singapore, they're actually artisan in nature. So if you really want to help them to grow, I think there's a lot of area we can actually help them by putting all the best practices in the multinational to the company.
Their entire set of how they think about their business, their growth, their processes needs to evolve as they move up the stages. And one of the roles we all play is actually to help them understand which stage they are in. Are they stable in that stage before they can then set the foundations to move to the next stage?
I have a technology, what to do with it. So, and here it's about really mapping about what could be the category where they could enter with this technology. Singapore is a small market, but they think that with this product they should go. But the fact is there is regulation, the price is different in other markets, the brand is known in Singapore but zero knowledge and branding awareness in the other market. But if you have a bottle, it's not about having a product and a bottle. You need also a brand, you need to know your competition. You know again where are you, which are your customers, So all these problems come with these questions.
Some of them, they need to be aware that they have problems, so there's a bit of mindset change. And some SMEs still have this SME mentality and thinking, I'm an SME. So our role is very much to influence them, convince them, as well as persuade them to some extent. We like to see more Singapore SME grow to bigger, and not just for Singapore, because the scale in Singapore is very small. I guess IA has an important role to make sure we help them in the journey for export and internationalization.
To understand a little bit about the difference between when you first enter into the food industry and the current industry right now, what has changed?
This labour shortage certainly is making many SME owners think about automation. They are very open-minded, and many of them has adopted and use equipments in place of people to do the production and all that.
Automation, digitalization, e-commerce, all this affect food business a lot, and especially SME as well, food services as well. So hopefully one day we'll see food industry become more automated and more digital savvy, just like other industry. And that will bring the whole food industry to a same level playing field as other industry.
30 years ago, it was more big companies bringing, I would say, foreigner product with foreigners' brands to Asia. 30 years later, I think all these big companies now are challenged by the local companies because consumer has changed. He wants localization, local taste, respect of the culture. Something which is local means something which is more sustainable.
Everybody has access to innovation now. In the way the world has globalized, the way the internet and digital access and access to knowledge, access to capital, the access to innovation is actually a choice that everybody can make.
So what are some of the best advices that you can give to the IAP companies if they were to come to you?
SME must also invest wisely, improve the business process or technology or people and organization. It's also important to learn how to collaborate. You don't always do it yourself because you don't know everything, and the things have changed so much and technology moves so much. So collaboration is important, and that's maybe through IA program or through ESG and things like that.
Sometimes they are very much internal focus. They know the company inside out, but the market has changed, the category has changed, and the competition has changed. Ask themselves as well, who is a consumer? Which kind of type of consumer they want to address the product, the future product, etc.
Invest in young people, train up young people, give them the opportunity, give them the responsibility. The graduates we have from polys and all this, they are very good, well-trained, but they don't have the experience. Actually, if you put them in a task, you will be surprised they will do very well.
I always say, leverage the relationships, whether they're customer-supplier relationships, take that deep-rooted know-how and convert it into knowledge and processes so that the next generation can come in and use it, whether it's talent or whether it's your own next generation.
Now, when an IAP company comes to you, what is the one thing that you would like to give them as a key takeaway?
Have a mission for the next generation so that you can leave a legacy, but make yourself as an individual redundant. But in doing that, what comes in the way unconsciously is you got to let go of control. And so by making yourself redundant as an SME owner, you actually are forced to create the capabilities and systems for the business to run itself. And then you can still hold the ownership, but you can help spend your human capital on other things too.
How to influence them to open up their mind rather than stick to their conventional thinking, or whether it's developing a new technology, new product, or even capability. So that open-mindedness is quite important, I think, at this stage for a growth mindset.
As a food manufacturer, to always remember to do no harm. If you do no harm to your product, then you would have consumer loyalty. You would then have the quality, and you would have the right value for consumers. If you do no harm to the planet, you would think about packaging sustainability, zero waste and all that.
I think it's also about thinking about the future and thinking like the company as a roadmap. because there could be a second generation which is taking over and the process are not there, or because the brand has not yet the purpose and the mission to move forward, etc. So it's about not only filling the gap of solving a problem, but think perhaps more strategically, not only for today, but also how to bring the company in the future.
The food industry future challenges, which actually starting now, actually there are two more. One is actually on the plastic elimination, because what happened now is a lot of food industry use a lot of plastics,
Yes,
and they're
that's
causing
right.
a huge pollution around the world. So if you start a business today with all the packaging, one of the things that they actually have an obligation to reduce the plastic usage. The other things for the food industry which is coming is a carbon footprint.
Yeah.
I think this will be the topic where we have to figure out how to reduce the energy usage in making food.
So thank you all for sharing with us your insights and advices, and also how we are looking at the food industry that is evolving and what consumers are looking at today as well. So it really is an insightful exchange, and I'm sure everyone has gained a deeper understanding about this particular sector. And we do hope that companies continue to accelerate their growth with us in IPI. So if you're keen to partner with IPI, do check out the IPI website.